Hello, everybody. This is Garth Rose, the GenRocket CEO, talking to you about synthetic test data automation. Who's GenRocket? We've been around for 10 years, and that's allowed us to really refine our platform to be a very mature, powerful, and flexible synthetic test data platform. 50 plus customers, the only patent for synthetic test data generation. Most of our customers are really large and have complex data challenges. Why synthetic test data automation? Well, traditional test data management helps customers comply with data privacy laws and accelerate test data provisioning, but GenRocket adds to that by allowing customers to maximize their test data coverage and solve really complex test data challenges. So we're really focused on enterprise objectives in testing and development environments, and how we maximize test data coverage is allowing customers to design whatever data they need. So the obvious data like positive and negative data, unique permutations. Stateful data, we mean by that it can be in a particular condition or state that's required in a complex workflow, always with referential integrity. We can apply rules to condition and control the data, and the volume, you can get whatever volume you need, small to huge volume in any format, and of course delivered to on-prem environments and also to the cloud. Minimizing test cycle time means what? It means that instead of using spreadsheets and manual methods, I can now use a tool like GenRocket to reduce days to literally minutes. So this can be a self-service approach. We can eliminate the old request and wait. We can get fresh, secure data in real time. We can generate the volume that we need, and we can directly integrate the data if we want to into our CI/CD pipeline. Traditional test data management, let's take a look at that. So we get a production database, our application, and what we do is we copy that data, and we have a masking algorithm that produces secure copy of that customer application or agent or quote application into a non-prod lower environment. Then what we do is, as a quality engineering or developer, we look for the data that we need and we integrate in that test case. And of course, the data is realistic and has referential integrity. But what our enterprise customers tell us is that there's a lot of data gaps. They don't have unique data, negative data, all the permutations and combinations they need. The volume isn't there. The data in the particular condition isn't there. Dynamic data, perhaps because it's across many different applications. And that's where GenRocket comes in with synthetic test data automation. So the model starts off similar, where we're looking at a production application or database or copy. But instead of using the data, we leverage the metadata. And we set up a test data project. That project becomes the template. We can version it, so we can have version 1 and version 2. And we can also lifecycle manage it so that we can stay up to date with that particular application or database. Then we're able to build these different test data cases against that customer project or whatever the application is, for load, for performance, for unit testing, integration testing in these different test data cases. And the benefit of that is it not only gives us realistic data with referential integrity, but also all of the data variety that we need to help the enterprise customer solve their challenges. So the business benefits are very compelling. Instead of spreadsheets or manual or creating scripts, customers now can reduce the cost, reduce the risk because it's all secure data, and have very much faster cycle time, better coverage and productivity. In the GenRocket methodology, it's a model, design, deploy, manage approach. You're about to see a demo. And just to kind of give you a quick feeling for this, a customer can upload pretty much any data model to the GenRocket cloud. We have 10 different tools. We have some a very intelligent data warehouse, some AI ML methods. And that speeds up the process of setting up that test data project, modeling that project in GenRocket. Then a test data engineer designs the data that's needed for their test requirements. And then it's deployed where the customer will then, the developer or engineer will integrate that data into the CI/CD pipeline or particular test case, and they can generate the data that they need on demand and in real time. Let's take a look at a live demo now. So here we are in the live demo. We're at the GenRocket main dashboard, and we're going to be setting up a new test data project using our XTS wizards. So we're going to choose a file. We're pulling in the metadata, not the actual data, and we're using that to set up a test data project. And we're using our domain referencing wizard to establish parent-child relationships. In step number 3, we go to our generator tuning wizard that allows us to modify and adjust the generators we're using to generate the particular attributes, the columns for this data. Now, in terms of data, it's very hard for test data engineer or testers to really understand the data. So we've added a layer of graphics that allows any user to easily navigate between one or many different projects, different project versions, different domains. A domain relates to a table, and the actual attributes, the columns, and even go down to the individual generator that we're using. Then from there, we can hop over to that related test data project, and we can even see the relationships in that particular part of the project. Now, in the next step where we want to be designing the data, we have a self-service module where a test data engineer can build a test data case suite, a GK suite, and in that suite, we can build whatever kind of data that we want. The examples we're showing here are unit, negative, load, and integration. And in the bottom right-hand corner, you can see that we can very granularly control the volume of data for each of those domains, such as the branch and account domain. And we have different setups, small setup, large, and we can even apply rules to control the data output. Lastly, we want to be able to generate that data on demand in real time into our CI/CD pipeline. Numerous ways to launch it: Jenkins, batch file, shell script, but the ability to talk to a SQL database or send it over other formats, in this example, a SQL database. Notice we've been able to insert the data and very accurately control exactly the particular data that we want, and also the rules controlling the data, the balance there on the screen, all directly inserted that database, controlled, conditioned, accurate test data. Okay, so now that you've seen the live demo, let's sort of break out some of the components in GenRocket that are very important. This is very much a scalable self-service platform. And one of the key components in GenRocket, we call a generator or a data generator. Over 680 generators. We add new generators all the time if customers need them. Obvious ones like city, state, postal code, names, emails, things like that. But you can see a wide list of very powerful generators where we can granularly control and produce exactly the data that a customer needs for their test case. And formatting is handled by our component we call a receiver. We currently have 91 different receivers or data formats, and it's all the ones you might imagine: any SQL database or NoSQL database, flat nested XML, but then also lots of other formats like vSAM for mainframe or Kafka messages, Swift messages, SAP systems and so forth, X12 EDI ecosystem for X12 837 claims, or cloud formats. And of course, data can be produced on-premise or can go up into the cloud for your testers to leverage there. Use case examples are very broad. You've already been hearing about some of them, but for example, complex data feeds, data for ETL testing, AI ML training data. And check out this list. You can see all of the interesting ones on the right-hand side, like synthetic bank checks, data going over REST APIs, so it's not just limited to a database, dynamic data where decisions are being made in real time. We can stub external data sources. So lots and lots of flexible use cases with the GenRocket platform. And of course, the data can be fully integrated into your release pipeline. So at the time your test case needs data, it can call GenRocket, and there's many ways to integrate and call it. But for example, a batch file or a shell script or scripting language over REST API, and you get the idea. The point is that you can call it, integrate the data is fresh, delivered right into the test case, and then at that point, the transaction can be rolled back and the next test case can run. So to wrap up, some great feedback from customers. There's hundreds and hundreds of different use cases from our customers, but just some nice examples here. You can see card transaction testing where we're able to, versus manual or other methods like spreadsheets, reduce test time from 25 hours of data preparation down to 5 to 10 minutes per cycle. Or in this global fraud solution, reducing the cycle time from 16 days down to 2 hours. Or strategic partner instant check in the bottom left hand here, you can see we were able for this client to save over 1,200 hours during the first 9 months of deployment.